What's up, everybody? I am talking NOS4A2 episode 10, the season finale, Gunbarrel. This is the second part of a two-part finale, so we're just going to jump right into it because the episode picks up exactly where the last episode ended. After a showdown with Manx at the sleigh house, Vic is able to escape the fire Charlie lit while she was trapped in the laundry room. As she climbs out the window, she sees the Wraith drive away. As far as we know, Craig is still locked in the trunk, and Manx has the newly converted vampire child Bradley in the backseat. It was quite a struggle for Vic to get out, but she made it and is able to climb down from the second-story window. We're then taken to what's happening inside the Wraith. In the process of trying to find a way out of the trunk, Craig manages to use a crowbar to pierce a hole in the gas tank, which immediately takes its toll on Manx. We see his nose start to bleed immediately. As we know, if you physically damage the Wraith in any way, shape, or form, it will affect Manx. Meanwhile, on the Manx property, Vic comes across a tree that's filled with hundreds and hundreds of ornaments. There's a lot of talk about these ornaments in the book. Basically, every ornament represents a child that Manx has taken. And as Vic looks at the different ornaments, she can hear the different voices of the children she knows. Vic manages to get off of Charlie's property. She then finds herself in a fairly secluded street in the woods of Colorado. So I've been anticipating this moment for a little bit. I wasn't sure we were going to get this far along in the series at this point because things seem to be jumping around timeline-wise, but I am familiar with this book, and if you're a fan of the book, you are familiar with this scene. And this is going to be a mild spoiler for the book and potentially for the series, so cover your ears and don't listen if you don't want to know. I'm not going to give out like a major spoiler here. I'm just going to say this is an important character. I mean, when he pulled up, I almost cried. It was so sweet. The gentleman pulls up in the motorcycle and asks Vic if she is okay. And you can automatically tell by looking into this guy's eyes that he is a kind, caring soul and very interested in helping Vic. The gentleman asks Vic if she's okay. Vic quickly points out the fire and tells the gentleman there's a man that has her boyfriend and little boy. The man is a little bit confused at this point, but doesn't hesitate to assist Vic and give her a ride to safety. This scene was very much how I pictured it in the book. I think they did a really good job in the series with that. So kudos to the entire production team for making that scene exactly how I pictured it in my head. I'm gonna give you guys some homework because this is the last episode. If you're into the series and you're not reading the book, and you're okay with being kind of spoiled for the series, go read the books because it'll definitely fill your fix in between now and when the next season comes out. We're then taken to the opening credits. Vic and the gentleman arrive at the same store we saw in a previous episode when Manx was picked up after hitching a ride with Bradley and his father. Vic and the gentleman enter the store and we see the same store owner we saw once before at the desk. We also see a female customer inside with her baby. As the store owner calls in to report the situation, the woman and her baby approach Vic to try and comfort her. When Vic tells the lady she's from Haverhill, the lady asks if that's someplace around here in Colorado. Vic had no idea that Manx's residence was in Colorado. We're then taken back to the police station with Maggie and Detective Hutter. Hutter apologizes for not being fast enough to catch Bing, but assures Maggie they currently have authorities searching the city for him. Hutter then gets a front row show to seeing the use of Maggie's tiles in action. In front of Detective Hutter, Maggie asks her tiles, "When will the brat call?" And her tiles spell out "soon." Hutter's obviously very fascinated by this demonstration of what Maggie's tiles can do. And then the phone rings, and sure enough, it's Vic. There's something very satisfying when somebody else learns about everything that's happened, when everyone else seems to not believe in this world, when one person believes your story and then can validate you and can validate that they're not crazy, that all this is really happening. It's really exciting to watch that. Vic tells Maggie that her bridge has been destroyed and she's unable to get to Christmasland without it. She asks Maggie to ask her tiles where Manx is. The tiles spell out Gunbarrel, which is where they are. And then we're taken to a wide shot from outside of the store and we see the front of the Wraith pull up in the frame. Oh my god, this is so scary and awesome. Whoop, there he is! Vic tells Maggie he is here and everyone from the store looks outside in horror. Vic asks the store owner if he has a gun. He has one for her and he has another one for himself. He hands one to Vic while Vic tells him to take the woman with the baby and hide. Vic then hands the gun over to the other gentleman and asks him if he has ever shot a gun before. After fading out, we're taken to an image of a gun being held to Charlie's head as he stands by the Wraith filling up his gas tank. Manx says, "This is a mistake, Lou Carmody." So now we know the gentleman's name officially. Lou has an awesome line at this point. He says, "Put your hands up, you Coney Island mother you know what? Lou's able to get Charlie to walk a few feet away from the Wraith, holding him at gunpoint. As we know, Manx has the ability to determine a person's name right away, as well as some of their personal history. He then repeats Lou Carmody's names once more, giving a list of misdemeanors that he has committed in his past. This is able to buy enough time for Vic to try to get into the trunk and free Craig. However, Vic is unable to open the trunk. Vic opens the driver's side door to try and find the keys to the car. They appear to be nowhere in sight. Meanwhile, Bradley is in the back seat and wants to play a game with Vic. In the glove compartments, all we see is maps of the inscapes and candy canes. With a crowbar, Craig is able to punch a hole between the trunk and the back seat of the Wraith. He's able to crawl through the hole from the back seat, which we learn might not necessarily be a safer place because Bradley is there and he wants to play. Craig tries to fend him off by hitting him several times with the crowbar, which doesn't seem to make too much of an impact on Bradley. While the two struggle, Bradley takes a bite out of Craig's arm. Meanwhile, we learn a little bit more about Lou as Manx tries to intimidate and manipulate him. Charlie taunts Lou about his inexperience with women, and even takes a very unclassy approach by insulting his appearance. Why, Mr. Manx, that is not very gentlemanly or noble. The Wraith then starts by itself and knocks Vic over by the driver's side door. Unfortunately, this gives Manx the opportunity to hit Lou a couple times in the head with the gas nozzle. Meanwhile, Craig and Bradley continue to struggle in the back seat of the Wraith. While Charlie goes to pick up the gun that Lou has dropped, Vic douses the entire car with gasoline and holds a lighter up, threatening to burn the whole thing. This moment is extremely intense, quite an exciting and exhilarating face-off between Manx and Vic. Charlie then backs down and lowers his gun, but that does not stop Vic from dropping the lighter on the hood of the Wraith. As expected, this immediately reverts Charlie back to his decrepit state, or possibly even worse, as he appears to be on fire just as the Wraith is. Lou appears to be in complete disbelief as he is watching this transpire. He grabs the gun and holds it over Charlie Manx's head. Vic runs back to the car and jumps inside the front seat and attempts to pull Craig out of the back. Vic makes several attempts to pull Craig out, but it's clear there is some type of barrier that will not allow him to escape from the vehicle at this point. And this is very heartbreaking because I've been Team Craig all season. And this is why I'm Team Craig. And this is why I've been Team Craig. He only cares about Vic. He sacrifices himself for her. He tells Vic to save herself and to leave him there. It's just so heartbreaking. Why would they do this to us? Why would they give us Craig and make him so wonderful? He's only briefly mentioned in the books. And he finally has gotten Vic's attention and she finally realized her feelings for him after being friends with him since they were kids. He is like, I love you too much to watch you die with me. You need to go. I'm going to sacrifice myself for you. Obviously, Vic does not want to let Craig go. It's a very difficult decision for her to make. In an attempt to put out the fire, Vic runs off and grabs a fire hydrant. And I hope for a second that maybe she would have been able to put out the fire and save him, but unfortunately it was too late. The Wraith bursts out to flames with Craig and Bradley inside, right in front of Vic's eyes, leaving her absolutely devastated. I can't stress enough how well played this scene was by Ashley Cummings and all the actors involved. It was really, really well done. It was horrifying, it was heartbreaking, it was sad, and a truly emotional moment for all of the characters involved. We're then taken to a scene of Vic in a hospital. On the other side of the curtain from Vic, Lou is in the room. Understandably, Lou is not quite sure what to make about the whole thing, but he assures Vic that she is indeed safe. Lou informs Vic that Manx is in an ICU bed with some state marshals by his door. When Vic asks about the car, Lou tells her that the police took it. Vic says it needs to be destroyed. Lou insists they've already destroyed it along with Craig and the other boy that was in the car. We then have a very sad moment when Vic realizes that Craig is gone. We're shown a visual of the commemorative pin that he gave her, which she kept on her boot buckle. Lou tells her that he's sorry and that he understood why she set the car on fire as he saw what it did to Charlie Manx. Lou is a big comic book fan, so he tells Vic that he believes there are unnatural forces that actually happen in this world. Lou tells Vic that he believes she's a superhero. As the nurse comes in to give Lou his discharge papers, he hands Vic over his medical wristband and tells Vic to give him a call if she's ever in the need for a sidekick. Vic gives Lou an emotional hug goodbye before he leaves. The nurse then tells Vic that she has frostbite on her arm. The nurse also reveals that Vic has a few other minor injuries, but there is a bombshell that is revealed at this point of the series, which I was not anticipating. Vic is pregnant! Now, I bet fans of the book were not ready for this to happen just yet, but boy, they're not wasting any time now, are they? So this was a surprise, not only to Vic, but to us. Also, she's about 3 weeks in, which means that she and Craig had to have been intimate sooner than we thought they were. We're then taken to a scene with Maggie and Hutter. Hutter arrives at Maggie's hotel room to inform her that Vic McQueen is safe and that Charlie Manx has been taken into custody. But Bing Partridge is still at large, and Hutter wants to know where he is. She asks Maggie if she can use her tiles to find him. After a little bit of hesitation, Hutter reveals a story about her being prematurely at birth, and that her mother and family believed that religious sacrifices were the reason she was able to survive. Hutter says the point is she's willing to believe that there are other forces in the world. Maggie emphasizes there are consequences to using her tiles. After Maggie agrees to use her tiles to find the whereabouts of Bing, they spell out the House of Sleep 2. Which means Bing has another house of sleep now. At this point, neither Maggie nor Detective Hutter are able to determine what this means. We're then shown an image of the House of Sleep 2. Ugh. And inside, we are revealed a very chilling image of Bing Partridge. He is shown looking in a mirror while shaving off his beard. We're then shown an image of Bing burning his work clothes. We're then taken to an image of him putting on the license plate of a new car. The license plate is for the state of Maine. As we know, Manx had given Bing a card with an address on it, and it was a Maine address that he gave him. And now we have somebody that looks completely different from what we know Bing Partridge to be. This is like full-blown scary bad guy here. There is absolutely nothing redeemable about Bing at this point. Not this look. Not this look. He looks like a very scary man at this point. We're then taken back to the hospital. Vic is seen outside of Manx's hospital room. The marshal stationed outside informs Vic that Manx is in a coma. He also tells Vic that the car has been totaled and that the state police have whatever parts were left of it. When Vic asks the marshal if she can see Manx, he tells her it's against policy but eventually agrees to let her see him. At Charlie's bedside, Vic vows and doubles down on her promise to find Christmasland and burn it down as she did to him in his car. I think it's apparent here that the work is not complete as Christmasland is still in existence. We're then taken to a scene of Vic getting ready for Craig's funeral. Linda enters the room and asks if she is ready. At the reception, we see Linda lovingly embracing Vic. Linda's clearly shaken by what happened and can't help but thinking, what if it had been Vic? And what if Vic hadn't escaped as she did? Vic then goes over to talk to her father, and she whispers to him that she's pregnant. She also tells Chris that the baby is Craig's. Her dad tells Vic things will work out. When Vic runs outside the party to vomit, we see a woman smoking a cigarette that calls her name. This is Craig's mom, and I believe this is the first time we actually see her out and about and not passed out on the couch. She tells Vic she is the only one that knows what a good boy her son was. Craig's mom reveals to Vic that she's quite disgusted about the pretentiousness of the people inside, treating the reception as some type of social party. And she urges Vic to get out of town and go pursue her art. And from the looks of it, getting out of town is exactly what Vic plans on doing. We see her driving on a motorcycle around town and eventually to the shorter way. Well, not really, because the shorter way isn't there. I'm sure she was curious to see whether or not the bridge would appear if she drove up to it in a vehicle that wasn't her bike or knife, or that it could possibly still be in existence even after Charlie destroyed it. Eventually, Maggie finds Vic at this location. The two are very clearly upset and affected and devastated by the lives that have been lost. Maggie tells Vic that she wants to work with Detective Hutter to find Bing, and that she's going to be staying in Haverhill as she doesn't feel right about going back to Iowa. Unfortunately, this means the two will be separated. As we know, Vic has no plans on staying in Haverhill. And Vic reveals that she's not going to be going to RISD. Christmasland could possibly still be out there, and Vic wants to completely destroy it. We then have a title card 6 months later, and we see a medical bag of blood. We're then taken to a scene in a dental office where a dentist is cleaning the teeth of a young girl. Bing has assumed a new identity. He looks clean-shaven and has darker hair, and the dentist addresses him as Mr. Anderson. As he changes the trash, we see him displaying an evil grin as he's looking at some anesthetic gas that comes into focus. Then we're taken to a scene with two gentlemen in what appears to be a garage. One is telling the other details about the car. And we see an image of the Wraith, which appears to still be intact. We then see a scene of Manx's burned down house. Outside of it, Vic stands where the ornaments are hung. As the house has been burned down, the tree with the ornaments representing all the children in Christmasland is still there. Bradley's ornament has broken and fallen off the tree. We then hear the children of some of the voices that she's heard in the past on the phone, urging her to come to Christmasland, singing Christmas carols, telling her that they're hungry. Where is father? Vic asks Lou if she hears that, and the only thing Lou can hear is the wind. When Vic stands up, we can see a very pregnant Vic. Lou says he doesn't want to rush her, but the place is creepy and it's cold. As they walk away from the Christmas tree, Vic tells Lou she wants to continue to work in his garage and that she's going to make sure her baby never meets anyone like Charlie Manx. Okay, so this thing just stole my soul and I'm pretty sure it's going to give me nightmares. Meanwhile, the Wraith is still intact, which is not good because if you get the Wraith up and running, that means you're going to get Charlie up and running too. Unfortunately, there's a man in a garage that wants to repair it. The minute he starts working on it, we see Charlie in his hospital room and his eyes start to open immediately. Another very chilling scene that is also equally as chilling in the book, but it was absolutely horrifying to watch this on screen. When the nurse goes to administer Charlie a blood transfusion, he regains full consciousness for a second and grabs her on her wrist. This causes the nurse to drop the entire bag of blood on her feet and spill everywhere. It is quite a horrifying sight as we get to see close-up of Manx's mouth and claws and teeth. Manx tells the woman that there is room for her son in Christmasland and that he saw her son in the graveyard of what might be. As the woman screams, Charlie releases her arms and his claws are revealed and they look awful. We then see the woman running down the Max facility hospital hallway. While his breathing is labored, the camera zooms out and we see a smile from Charlie Manx. And the episode ends from above Charlie's bed with the sight of the spilled blood beside it. Whoa! So I have a lot of things to talk about. I have a lot of questions. I don't know about you guys, but I am completely floored by that. Obviously, Charlie Manx is not dead. They were able to cripple him temporarily, but if somebody repairs that Wraith, he's gonna come back, and he's gonna come back in full force. It's unclear as to how Vic will be able to access and destroy Christmasland as she so desires. I'm not exactly sure what's gonna happen next season, but I'm just so glad that we're getting another one. So yay for us, yay for the cast, crew, and production, yay for just like everyone. The last 2 episodes were just so nail-biting. The season really went out with a bang. From what I understand, they're gonna start filming very, very shortly. We probably won't get a new season until next year. Oh, that's killing me. Once again, I can't stress you enough, if you don't mind knowing what happens in the series, because the series is a little bit different from the book. Like, this is different. Like, there are timeline differences, there's storyline differences, there's character differences. So we don't know what's going to happen, but definitely read the book if you need to fill your fix between now and then. I definitely recommend checking it out. As far as this channel goes, if you like these videos, hit that subscribe button and I'll be talking shortly about the next series that I'll be doing. I'm looking around, I'm trying to get into a new series. So if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear it. There are also a whole bunch of new horror series that are currently in the works right now that I'm excited about coming. So I'm thinking about reviewing and recapping those too. I also have a couple X-Files related videos that I've been meaning to make for a while that I'm probably going to make. But I'd like to thank you guys for joining me in this journey. It's just been phenomenal. I really love the start of this like new fandom. I really love that there's a new fandom forming and just watching this show blossom and slowly pick up over the course of this past season has been really exciting, and I look forward to season 2. I look forward to talking to all of you guys. If you're on Twitter and you want to stay in touch, I'm at Larissa F. You can follow me on Twitter. So feel free to bug me on Twitter and tweet me what you thought of the season finale and what you hope to see next season. Leave a comment below. I hope you guys have enjoyed this journey with me. I've enjoyed it very, very much. I look forward to talking about season 2 and my next show with you guys. All right? So thanks a lot, guys, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. All right, take care.